When thinking about the INTP brain, you may think they are the natural psychologists, perhaps. Leading with introverted thinking is about detached logic, reading situations, and coming to logical conclusions through information. It's detail oriented, and it's always looking for logical consistencies between between data and situations. Um, there's a introvert thinking, extrovert feeling axes in the INTP. Extrovert feeling is about the immediate environment, reading emotional tones, mannerisms, etc. Even though it's the inferior function, it's the aspirational function in the INTP, and it supports the dominant function in a strange but clear way, where INTPs gradually learn how to read situations through logic, through detached reasoning. Also, extrovert intuition, looking behind the sense data. So INTPs can be quite insightful with how people operate. So I found with the Myers-Briggs system, I've become obsessed with understanding it because it's looking at things in that different light, not just for a situation for what it is, but what's behind the situation, what the interconnectedness behind the situation. Like, you have people there talking, but what you can't see is the cognitive functions that are working, and it's the I think it's the this information which is behind the immediate sense data, which is what NE looks for, is what sparks in the INTP, which is then filtered through introvert thinking and supported by extrovert feeling in the cognitive stack, in order for the INTP to want to come to a logical conclusion as to how situations work, how people work, in as to understand this as thoroughly as possible. Also, having introvert sensing in the tertiary position inspires INTPs to get a detailed, thorough understanding of how people work, not just in a manner of, oh, you say this to people and you get this result. It's more about, when you look at the INTP stack, it's more driven towards what is behind that person's, what causes that person to do that behavior. You can look at their cognitive functions and be like, hey, that's an ENTJ. They have extroverted thinking as a dominant cognitive function. Therefore, they're largely driven by producing outward results. A lot of ENTJs are CEOs, just like executives and all that sort of thing. And if you look at their cognitive stack as found by Myers-Briggs, you'll see that it does match with how they live their lives, along with ISTPs, like very mechanical types. It all makes sense through this system of Myers-Briggs when you look at it closely and you connect the dots. And I think the INTP brain is the best at doing this, because introvert thinking looks at all different angles. Extrovert intuition looks behind the sense data for what else is there. Introvert sensing is keen to get a thorough understanding through detail, supporting the abstract extrovert intuition, and then extrovert feeling is there, which sparks the interest in understanding human relationships. So I do think INTPs, along with INFJs, are sort of like the natural psychologist, academic psychologists. INFJs are more pronounced in the field because they generally put more effort into producing tangible results. But I believe INTPs do have a lot of potential with being good psychologists. Thank you for watching.